right, so we'll start with Austin. Austin, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic.
That's great.
All right, so what year did you start playing varsity for the school?
Freshman.
Freshman year?
Yep.
And how did that mentality of the varsity competition affect you in your first year at the school?
Well, it was a lot different from going to middle school, like 8th grade, playing against like 6th graders and 7th, and then going to play against seniors and kids that are way older than me. I didn't really think that I would be in that position at the time. So it was, it changed my mentality a lot, and I think it made me a much better soccer player.
What do you think you did that made you stand out as a freshman to the coaching staff?
I guess it was just the hard work. I always try my best against the older guys, and I really wanted to be on varsity ever since I was younger, so I just wanted to like prove to people wrong. I didn't think I could.
This year had some new coaching with Coach Brian Williams and his crew. How did the mindset as a senior with the new system, did it change at all?
Yeah, it did. At first, I thought that it was going to be a lot more intense with the new coach. We had some training sessions before the season started that were pretty intense at the track and at the beach. And then, well, like as the season progressed, it kind of like, it was more of not as serious kind of because he's been our assistant coach the whole way through. So it was kind of like a lot of times we were joking around. But it was for the better, I think. He's a great coach, but I think just because we knew him for so long that it was different.
And what do you think the biggest change was this year compared to past years?
Probably just the way that like practice was set up, kind of. Don was so used to like just doing like the circle drill and the square drill with our previous coach Les, and we always changed. We never really did like shooting drills. We kind of always worked out different stuff every practice and things that we needed to improve on.
And what was the difference? What was the biggest difference like during the preseason, leading up to this season?
Well, like with the previous coach, we had captain's practices as well, but like he would attend sometimes. He would just kind of chill out. You can't really coach before the season started, but he didn't really do anything like make an effort to push any extra work or anything like before the season started. And with Brian, we had training sessions at the track that were really intense, and he wanted to get us in shape before the season.
In past years, we've all seen in the papers, Austin Degiacomo, number 18, scores for the Bulldogs. So senior year, why did you switch to number 7? What prompted that change?
Well, I've always liked number 7. I've always wanted to be number 7. And when I was younger, I never really was. During the spring, I was 44, I think it was. And I never really got to be that number. It just always was my favorite number. And I really wanted to be it. And it was always taken my high school years. And I somehow ended up with 18 all 3 years. So it was finally available when we got the New Jersey senior year, so I took it.
You were voted captain this year by your fellow teammates and coaches. What were your emotions when you received it?
I was excited, a little nervous because I never really had that position before, but I was really ready to just try my best to make the team better in any way possible.
What kind of responsibilities did you have as a captain?
Well, our coach, he couldn't make it to practice for like the first half hour, so we expected the captains to make sure everybody was warmed up and stretched out and quiet, and we just had to always just be there for the team. If things were going bad, we just had to try and motivate people, and then you're always there for people, even if like something out of soccer is like going on in their life for them. You can always be there as a friend.
And speaking of being a friend, what do you think is the most important thing to be to the younger guys on the team?
Repeat the question.
Like you said, it's good to be like a friend and everything. And how big of a role does that play in being a teammate and a friend with the younger guys?
Well, like just being a teammate is just like you have to be teammates with people, but being a friend, like it makes a stronger bond between the players, and I think it makes the team better. The closer you are, the better you play.
And what captain in the past did you try to look up to, or did you try to emulate in any way?
Well, when I was a freshman, I always looked up to Cooper, but like as I grew, I realized that's probably not the best example. So But probably Pat Johns, I'd have to say.
Man, what was the thing that you liked most about
He
him?
was always, he never talked back. He's a great player. He's always there for people. Always tried his best no matter what. If the team was down, like he always motivated everybody to just like keep trying, even if it like until the last second of every game and every practice.
The boys soccer team has a reputation of being a very passionate, very close-knit. What is one word that you could use to describe this team and what it's meant to you?
Family probably, because no matter what was going on, like life, whatever, like school, anything, like I would always love going to soccer practice with all my friends, and I knew I was always going to have like a fun time, and we were always just so close. We could always just make so many memories together from when we were younger.
What can you remember about how the boys soccer chant started? That's always in the Columbus Day Parade.
Can't remember who started it. You remember who started that?
I think it was Cooper.
It might have been Cooper, yeah. He started during the parade, and it's forever lived to this day.
Being a student athlete here at WHS, do academics come before soccer for you?
During the season, not really. Like they should. They do. I get them done, but if like we have something, if I have something to do the next day and like we come home late for a game, if it's not that big of a portion of my grade, I'll kind of just like leave it and just go to bed. But yeah, pretty much. That's how it is.
Would you say not being able to have enough time to do homework assignments is the hardest part of being a student athlete?
Yeah, well, soccer was tough. Like we had practice. It was at a weird time before. It was right after school. Like you had like a half hour, but you couldn't really get much done. You had to be there like ready. So you went there till like 5, and then home games we had pasta dinners, which would go from right after practice to like 8. So then we would have like no time really to do homework.
So lack of time, you would say, is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any reward in being a student athlete?
Yeah, I like to play in front of the dog pound. I think it's very rewarding to have people come to watch you guys, watch you and your friends play, and it's always nice to come in after the next day after like a win.
And personally, do you think student athletes should have like a different sort of treatment when it comes to homework and assignments being due?
I do. I think that if, like in the case where like the night before the home game where I said we don't really have much time to do it, or like a night of the game where we're getting back from the school at like 10 o'clock at night, if we had something big due the next day or even just like homework, they should like push that back a day so we can get that done. I think it's like unfair rather than somebody who just gets to go home and have the whole night to just work on that.
Mm-hmm. And to wrap it up for your side of the interview, if you could create a 5-a-side team from this year's soccer team, who would you have on it?
Have Mark Lozon as a goalie. Me, Adelmo, fellow teammate. I would take Ryan O'Donnell and probably Brendan Flood.
Any reason behind those guys being on your team?
Well, I know that like I don't really know how it'd be set up if there was only 5 guys, so probably like 4 people. So like maybe like 2 in the back, 1 in the middle, 1 up top, or something like that. So like I would probably have like Ryan be in the back, or probably just Ryan be like a sweeper type thing, and then I'd have you and Adelmo in like the middle, and then me up top. I think that would work great.
I think it would as well. Thank you. And that brings us over to Adelmo Intrieri, who's been sitting here intently. Adelmo, I have to start. What inspired that mane of yours?
Oh, the man one? It's a tough one. You know, I seen it around last year. It's kind of booming. So I really liked it. I've always had a thing for long hair, but I never really had a style for it. So I thought it was great. I like to have long hair. I know what it is.
And now to just get back to a serious note, have you always wanted to be a captain of this team?
Yeah, I've always ever since freshman year when I saw the other captains and how they acted on and off the field, I've always wanted to be in that position.
And what would you say is probably the biggest responsibility that the job requires?
As being captain?
Yeah.
Definitely definitely tardiness, as long as like keeping all the others in track, because it's high school. Like, a lot of kids like to show up late, they sleep in, and all that good stuff. But as you need to stay on time, and you need to look out for the other teammates.
Be a role model.
Yeah, you're a role model, and you gotta look out for others.
Do you think that the role model aspect of just being a teammate, do you think that reflects in school too? Like, if you're a good role model in school, do you think that the other kids will look up to you for that?
Yeah, definitely off the field as well, academically wise. It's a big thing to the way you act in school, because others would want to be like you.
Yeah.
So you definitely have a huge role model academically as well.
In past years, you featured in the team as a striker or a center forward. This year, you played a majority of it at center attacking mid. What changes did you have to make to your game this year?
Well, actually, my whole life I've been a center midfielder. So changes that I would have to do this year would be like kind of refreshing, like your attitude on the field, because you don't want to just keep going forward and say like, hey, I'm going to beat you. You got to think about your surroundings and your options. So just kind of refreshing that was one struggle I had.
Was it a position that going into the season you were hoping to play, or was it one that Coach Brian and the staff decided would be best for the team?
Actually, during captain's practices, I realized that there was other strong midfielders, but not as many like attackers. So I was hoping to play the attacking. But as the season went on, we saw that the midfield wasn't as strong. So they asked me kindly, and I accepted to play mid.
And what formation do you think, because the boys soccer team experimented with so many, what formation do you think played the best?
I think the best was the 4-3-3 with 4 in the back, because we had fast guys and we can get the ball up pretty quick, but we never did with other formations.
How do you feel that training went on a daily basis?
I think training was very productive compared to the other years, where we would kind of do the same thing. We did a lot of different things, but I feel like some days we should have worked on other things other than keep working on.
So if you regret some things that you think you maybe didn't train with during the season?
Yeah, you could say.
Do you think that any positives that you think could be translated to next year's teams?
Definitely. I think a lot of the upcoming going to be seniors are going to have the right attitude and mindset to lead the others, because I know a lot of the younger kids, and they also have the same attitudes.
I know failing to make the playoffs was devastating for me and for all of us seniors. What, in your opinion, do you think was the main reason that the team fell short this year?
I think the main reason was we didn't trust one another when we play each other, even though our coach wanted us to play a certain
If
style.
there's any student in the building that needs a bus pass, please come to the main office now. If there are any students in the building that need a late bus pass, please come to the main office. Thank you.
So yeah, I don't think they really trust each other, and we could have worked on working with each other more, because we did a lot of drills, but we never really gained that trust and did what our coach told us to.
Coming into the season personally, do you think that having to replace a full varsity back line with new rising varsity players was a big concern?
It was definitely a big concern, but I always thought that the best defense is a good offense. So I was hoping for our coach to straighten them out, because they had never played. But as the season went on, I saw that our weakness was the offense, and the defense was doing fairly well.
My next question was actually going to be, do you think it was a lack of scoring that held the team back? Clearly you think it was. Do you think that there's anything you could have done better during the season to put more balls in the back of the net?
I think we could have used our strengths more, other than trying to use some strategies.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of speed and technique, but we tried to possess more, which we kind of struggled with. And trying to beat teams that way was a little bit more difficult because they weren't. The opposition team wasn't as possessive.
Senior night was one of extremely high emotions, I know for me. But it was a game in which you scored. What can you say about your fellow seniors that night and the performance in that win?
I'm really proud about that night, and I'm sure all the other guys are too.
Yeah.
And I really do think we gave it our all, even though the past couple of weeks we were trying to give it our all because we were on that close mark on making the playoffs. But I think just the talk we had with the other guys and the team that weren't seniors, and they really didn't understand it till then that it's our last game and we're going to give it our all, and we expect the same out of them. We're doing pretty well.
How important do you think it was to be a friend with all of your seniors?
I think it's a necessity, actually. Like, just being with them all the time makes you friends with them. But like, we all have the same feelings. Everyone's mad that we're running. The guys next to you mad. So like, I think that you're in it together and you're doing the same things, and it's really important that you guys get along, or else you're not going to go anywhere.
And how emotional was it for you that it was like your last time playing on that field with friends that you've grown up playing all the way since rec?
It's pretty tough. That last game was heartbreaking. I mean, we saw it coming like weeks before. Actually, when we lost the playoff game, we knew that senior night would be like one of our last games. And
I mean, the game that put us in the playoffs.
yeah, the game to put us in the playoffs, we had lost. But I think that was more devastating than the actual night because we had seen the night coming, and I wanted to take that and have like a good time with it, other than getting all worked up and emotional.
And to end the interview, I'd like to ask both of you, starting with Adelmo, what was your fondest memory of the team? It can be from this year, it can be from past years. Just what can you say about the team?
First in that one.
Well, there's senior night, which was, it's debatable. It was either senior night or the previous year playoff games. They were pretty intense with our game versus, what did we play? Moses Brown. That game, the PK shootout was pretty intense, but probably sophomore year when we made it to the quarter or semifinals.
Last year we went to the quarterfinals.
Last year was the quarterfinals.
Yeah,
the year before was
semifinals.
the semi.
Yeah, the semi. That was sophomore year. Yeah, that was those games, that playoff round was probably my fondest moment. That was the most intense. Like when you scored a goal, it was like
It meant so much.
yeah, it was yeah.
As for me, I think that scrimmage that we had against Stonington was, I think it was last year's scrimmage. Last year's
we played
scrimmage.
them. Yeah, not this year, last
Yeah,
year.
'cause we don't play them in the regular season, but we have the rivalry.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's
Yeah.
almost like the equivalent of the Premier
Yeah,
League
it's
game.
almost,
Yeah.
it was, because we don't play football. So they thought they were prepared, but they weren't.
Thank you guys for interviewing.